I have no confidence that City Council will stand up for all of Portland.
Portland's police union throws a haymaker at City Council.
If City Council won't stand up for Portland, we will.
And they say if you want police reform, then we need more money, not less. And 8 years ago, Salem police killed her brother.
And that was the start of our nightmare.
Since then, the department has made a lot of changes, except for one.
If your loved one was in crisis, do you want them to be met with a gun in their face?
And so many people sent us masked selfies. We decided to do something special. That's why tonight we're handing out the Maskies. Here's the story.
Ah, the Maskies, a very big night here at KGW, an enormous honor. Stay tuned for that a little later in the show. I'm Dan Haggerty. Thank you for being with us. Welcome to the story. We appreciate you as always. So many people have been sending in mask selfies. It is not too late for you to send them in too. You might be a late addition to the Maskies. Okay, you could win a big major award tonight. Reach out on Facebook or Instagram. You can email us at thestory@kgw.com or use Twitter and the hashtag Hey Dan. All right, let's get to it. And tonight, at least off the top here, we're going to be talking a lot about police reform and accountability, because we learned a lot about both, like why the Portland Police Association, that's the police union, is not happy with Mayor Ted Wheeler or City Council.
I have no confidence that City Council will stand up for all of Portland. I have no confidence that the city will stop the rioting and the looting and protect the safety and livelihood of Portlanders. I have no confidence that the City Council will guide the Portland Police Bureau forward in a new era of policing that prioritizes safety, equity, reform, and police funding. I have no confidence that City Council respects and supports its rank and file officers who work tirelessly to better our community. I have no confidence that City Council wants to be part of a solution that closes the divide between police and our communities. If City Council won't stand up for Portland, we will.
Okay. The PPA's executive board is unanimous in its condemnation of City Council. They say the council, in their words, is hyper-fixated on police behavior instead of the destruction we've seen downtown. And in a statement, they said, as you heard at the end there, if City Council won't stand up for Portland, we will. But in order to have police reform, the union insists that they have to have funding, that we need to fund police, not defund police, as many activists have been calling for. And to that end, these are the 8 reforms the union put forward today. 21st century policing, which was an Obama-era initiative. A return to community policing, federal oversight and funds for things like body cameras, recruiting more diverse candidates, creating alternative policing like social workers or crisis managers, creating fair, transparent, and accountable discipline systems, encouraging officer wellness and prioritizing training on things like de-escalation and bias. Now, previously, the union had said that they're simply just stretched too thinly, that they're asked to do so much. Meanwhile, they really shouldn't be doing a lot of the work that they're being called out to do, like dealing with a mental health crisis or something like that. So if you think about it, there is a lot of crossover in the messaging between the activists and the police union. Now, we tried to reach out to members of the City Council to get their reaction to the proposals and that explosive statement from the union, but we haven't heard back from anyone. And in all fairness, the City Council met most of today, so they were pretty busy. But we'll keep reaching out. We did hear in some way, shape, or form from Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, because she had time to tweet. She demands in this tweet that police stop using tear gas. And she said that she and Commissioner Chloe Eudaly support a legal ban on it. Now, you may remember a law that passed in last month's special session said that police can only use tear gas in life and death situations, but police have still been using it fairly regularly in front of the Justice Center, arguing that in those riots, it is an actual matter of life and death. Again, no word from the mayor or the 3 city council members on that no confidence vote from the union, but when we hear back, we will, of course, let you know. So tonight's big story, we're going to stay on this topic of police reform. This time it's going to be a little further south in Salem. At the center of this story is a family who lost one of its family members, shot by a police officer in 2012. Well, 8 years later, and a number of police reforms later, Kyla Boshi learned that there is still one thing they want to see fixed.
Amid all the protests and the cries for change, Maria Hammer argues there's one piece missing in the nationwide movement over police reform: mental health. how officers deal with crisis intervention.
Police agencies as a whole have to self-reflect and say, what can we do better? What can we do better next time?
Maria's younger brother Chase was shot and killed by police after officers responded to a mental health call in 2012.
And that was the start of our nightmare. And my life will never be the same after that.
Chase Hammer had a big heart, but behind that endearing smile, the 27-year-old struggled with addiction and mental health. On the night of October 21, 2012, Salem police were called for a welfare check after reports Chase was suicidal, under the influence of Xanax, and had his father's gun. Salem police said Chase didn't respond to officer commands and was shot when he reached behind his back and pulled out a gun. Chase's family was nearby and witnessed his death.
This doesn't go away. This pain, this emptiness, it doesn't go away.
A study published last year found of the nearly 1,000 people shot by police officers nationwide in 2018, a quarter of those fatalities involved people with mental illness.
If your loved one was in crisis, do you want them to be met with a gun in their face? Or do you want them to be met with love and understanding and resources and help?
In 2016, the city of Salem settled a wrongful death lawsuit filed on behalf of Chase's family. As part of the settlement, Salem police agreed to several changes, including a new policy to deal with mental health issues and people in crisis. KGW's review of current policies and protocols found the agency fulfilled all but one of the requirements outlined in the settlement. Salem police still hasn't conducted a review of its response to suicide calls over the past 5 years, as required in the agreement. Some may look at this and say, listen, it's been 4 years since this settlement has been signed. Why has it taken so long?
That took some time to identify the right person for that.
The agency spokesperson added, Salem police has made progress with new training and a specialized crisis intervention team that can respond to mental health emergencies.
This isn't something that is new to our department. This has always been an important piece, and I think that as we move on, we'll continue to get better.
Aguilar explained a major roadblock for all police agencies to better handle mental health emergencies is funding. And that, Hammer points out, is what this police reform debate is largely about. Priorities.
Police agencies as a whole have to self-reflect and say, what can we do better? What can we do better next time?
Okay, Kyle Aboshi joining us now. So we're talking about mental health here and how police get involved, but is it up to police alone to handle this topic?
That's a great point. I mean, over the years, we've been asked to wear many hats and do many different things, among them handle mental health and crisis intervention. And they say, listen, we're doing the best we can and certainly can use more training and more resources, but ultimately, it's not just police. And when they encounter somebody in a mental health crisis, there need to be resources both before and after they have this interaction. So really, it takes the entire community here.
Got it. Kyle Aboshi, thank you. All right, here for you. A politician in Umatilla County in Eastern Oregon says he was mailed it said terrible things. Things like Mexicans aren't welcome here. It just sounds awful. One problem, he sent the letter to himself. Yeah, I know. It doesn't make sense. Jonathan Lopez, a former county commissioner candidate, originally posted a photo of the letter on Facebook. We checked, and his entire account has at this point been deleted. And now he has admitted that, yes, he wrote the letter himself. Why, you're asking? We're all asking? Well, he says that he wanted to show it to police as an example of the racism people face. Which brings us to our quote of the day from Lopez. I never meant to file a report. It just kind of spiraled out. You think? He told that to the East Oregonian newspaper after the Hermiston police chief said Lopez is being investigated for filing a false police report. Now, this story is getting picked up by all kinds of right-wing media sites comparing it to the Jussie Smollett case, and they're trying to push the narrative that racist crimes like this, or like this one was pretending to be, are a hoax. And considering that this was a hoax, they have people listening to that. And I hope that you're listening to us now when I remind you that even though this is one mind-blowing example, it shouldn't discredit people experiencing real hate in our communities. And all you have to do is look at the stories we've covered in the past 24 hours. 7 men were arrested in Lincoln City on the 4th of July, accused of harassing and threatening a black family on the beach. This is video that family took of police protecting them at the time. And here's what happened in West Salem over the weekend. A man says his 6-year-old stepson was playing outside the family's apartment when a neighbor threw a firecracker at him and called him a racial slur. That neighbor was arrested for that. So look, hate crimes are happening often enough. No one needs to make up fake ones to prove a point, or in some cases, it appears, get some attention. Now we got some time for a quick question right now. This one's from Eric Oswald, who asked on Twitter, "Hey Dan, is Portland on track for Phase 2 Friday?" For asking Eric, I'm sure you're not the only one who wants to know this information. Unfortunately, or I don't know, maybe fortunately, depending on your perspective on all of this, the answer is no. So before our cases started to rise recently, the county was all set to apply for Phase 2, but today, Multnomah County announced it will pause on moving ahead and reopening. County Chairwoman Deborah Kafori said, "I'm worried folks are getting a little too focused on getting to the next phase and think everything will be okay then. Until we have a vaccine, everything is not going to be okay." Multnomah County has clocked 195 new cases just this week.
When the story continues.
Honestly, this year has been a roller coaster for me personally.
Dude, you are not alone there. Carmelo Anthony tells Orlando how he's been trying to use his platform to push for justice, handing out the Maskies. And we're taking a trip back into the KGW vault to meet Francis Gabe, artist, sculptor, jeweler, but most of all, Eureka! Inventor of a self-cleaning house. Just roll with it. It'll be worth it.
Welcome back to The Story. Thank you to everyone sending in questions and comments. And tonight, lots of mask pictures using that hashtag #HeyDan on Twitter. We've got a lot of emails coming in. You can email us too at thestory@kgw.com. We read every single one of them. Some of them we read on air. Some of them questions we answer on air and we'll answer in the future. Other ones we'll just send right back to you with a response. So trust me, we read everything. And sometimes, though, we do have to take these things to the experts. And usually the expert is Matt. At least that's the only one I know. And our viewers, like Jan, know that too. She says, please ask Matt if Oregon ever had snow in July or August or 90 degrees in January. So why don't we ask Matt? Hashtag, hey Matt.
Hey Dan, how's it going?
Good, man. Nice to see you.
Good. So, yeah, you too. It's been a little while, but things are good. Hey, so first of all, the snowfall question in July or August. Has Oregon ever had snow in July or August? Absolutely we have. Because we have mountains. At high elevations, we've had the occasional weather system come in, drop the snow level down to maybe 6,000 feet in July and even August, but that would be the higher reaches of the Cascades or the Wallowa Mountains up in northeast Oregon. Now, that 90-degree question, have we ever hit 90 in January or February? And we've come close. I think the record for January in Oregon is 89 degrees down at Powers, which is down in the Siskiyou Mountains of southwest Oregon. Similar number for February. So we've come close to 90 in those 2 months, but I think we had to wait till March to reach 90 degrees. Now, the other thing a lot of people have been wondering about is our cool-ish summer. So for that, we're going to look back at the numbers from June because we're only a week into July yet, so it's really not fair to put too much stock into what happens in the first 7 days or so of the month of July. But let me show you the graphics and the numbers here for the month of June because there are some interesting comparisons to what was called back then January. That was June of 2010. So I compared June of 2020, the month we just finished, with June of 2010, affectionately known by some, or disaffectionately known by some, as January. June of 2010 is our wettest June ever. June of 2020, close, our 5th wettest ever. June of 2010, the average high temperature, you take all the high temperatures, you average it out, not even 69 degrees. We're about 5 degrees warmer this last month. So June 2020, definitely warmer, and in fact, we never even hit 60 as late as June 20th in June of 2010, which is amazing. June 2020, we had 0 days where we didn't at least reach 60, and we had one 90-degree day. So it was warmer and not as wet as 10 years ago, but still cooler than average, wetter than average, and July has followed suit, at least for the first few days, Dan. I think things are going to begin to warm up later in the month. Back to you.
I'll be honest, if I woke up tomorrow and there was snow on the ground, I'd need my head checked. I couldn't imagine snow this time of year, but that would be fun to see. Matt, thank you so much. We missed you here on the story. Nice to have you back for a little cameo. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Yeah, hey, talking about some big question marks, there are a lot hanging over sports right now. So Orlando Sanchez had a lot of questions when he got a few minutes to talk with Carmelo Anthony, and they didn't just talk about basketball.
He's a 10-time All-Star, 3-time Olympic gold medalist. Carmelo Anthony is one of the biggest stars in the NBA. But at this time last year, Anthony was out of the league. At one point, some thought it was the end of a Hall of Fame career.
Get away from the game, kind of just build myself up from a mental standpoint, emotional standpoint. Get over that.
He signed with the Portland Trail Blazers in November.
With the unknown of what's going to happen, but taking a chance and moving to a place where I had no idea of what Portland was, other than going to the Nike campus, right, at one point in time, and it being wine country. That was the only thing I knew about Portland.
It took less than a month to prove he could still play at a high level, named Western Conference Player of the Week. But it's been more than just basketball for Melo.
Honestly, this year has been a roller coaster. Especially for me personally.
It's been a year of growth, experiencing success, heartbreak, and living in a pandemic.
The joy of coming back, the excitement, and then to lose my brother Kobe in this same year, dealing with that, to fast forward to the coronavirus. It's been a very rocky, up and down, weird season emotionally. But this is a season that I'll never forget. I was able to take what I've experienced and learned and figured out in that time off and apply that to not just basketball, but to life.
He's continued to use his platform for social change, this time as guest editor-in-chief for a special issue of Slam magazine, putting the spotlight on racial inequality.
To have that platform on Slam and also to include your son. What did that mean to be able to do that?
I told him, look, the only way I would be involved in this is if you let me take the gloves off and you let me be creative and you let me tell the stories that I want to tell. And that's what happened. To have my son in the front of that, with me standing behind him, letting him know, the world know that, I don't just have my son's back. I have this next generation back as well. And those are the people who need to be heard.
Players will be allowed to have social messages on their jerseys. Anthony hasn't decided what will be on his jersey when the season resumes at the end of July. But he will be playing for the first time since the pandemic shut down sports.
I have concerns. Everybody has concerns about what's going to happen, how everything is going to transpire, because we just don't know. But I think this is going to make everything stronger, because if we don't get this right, then this put a dent in sports in America, in all over the world, because everybody is looking at the NBA to see how this is going to play out.
The motivation is simple.
Basketball, at the end of the day, wanting to play, wanting to get back on the court. But that's my personal motivation.
Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.
If you'd asked me a month ago if the NBA was going to be coming back, I'd have put $100 on no way. And right now you'd be shopping with my $100. Hashtag Hey Dan, tell me if you think it's going to last. I got some theories about it. I'd like to talk to you. So usually when we pry open the KGW vault, we find some videos of Oregon's darker moments, like the flood of '96 or the Rajneeshis or the attempted bombing at Pioneer Square. But sometimes we find some stories that are just fun and charming, like this one from 1990 that we're sharing tonight, really for no other reason than it just made us happy. Enjoy.
Before I could prove that it worked.
Call Frances Gabe of Newburgh.
Half of Newburgh thought I was nuts, and the other half decided I was a genius. And
nuts or genius, she is an artist, a sculptor, a jeweler, but most of all, Frances Gabe is an inventor, and her prize invention is the self-cleaning house. She lives in it in Newburgh, and she's been working on it off and on by herself for 29 years.
I want mine to be completed when I put them on.
So that's why it takes some time.
Yes. Yes, when I get through with this baby, it's really going to work. For instance,
When completed, the self-cleaning house will have a china cabinet that also washes dishes. It will have a clothes freshener washer-dryer.
this is all automatic, of course. The detergent stops when the bottle's empty. Then the water runs clear and rinses.
Then the clothes dry and go right down a rod to the closet. No bending or stooping for the laundry.
Stooping is stupid.
All housework is stupid to Francis. The bedroom and living room all have sprinklers above. Someday when they're hooked up, they'll replace dusting and sweeping. By the way, the water would all go in a floor drain when the cleaning's done. We can show you how it works in the kitchen. It's the only operational part of the self-cleaning house right now. Today, Francis gave us a demonstration, but first she had to fix a pipe fitting that broke. Then she gave us the demonstration.
Eureka! Nuts!
Trouble with that same pipe fitting again. We kind of helped out with a little strapping tape. And then finally, the demonstration of the self-cleaning kitchen in the self-cleaning house.
That's good enough.
And there you have it, a clean kitchen, Francis Gabe style. When she finds the time, she'll finish the house ahead of its time, washing housework right down the drain. Carl Click, News 8.
It's amazing. That's so great. We have to end kind of on a sad note. Frances passed away in 2016, but she certainly left us with some fantastic memories, and that's one of the reasons we love to go into the vault so much. So if you have any ideas, please send us back down there. It's like a little vault downstairs. I go down there. I'll look for stuff. Email me. Hashtag HeyDan on Twitter. We'll find stuff for you, and we're going to read some feedback right after this. Also, the moment you've been waiting for. We're going to be handing out the Maskies when we finish the story.
Good evening and welcome to the Maskies. I'm your host, Dan Haggerty. Thank you to everyone who submitted their masked selfies. It's time to announce tonight's winners. Your best dressed maskie goes to Patrick Burke. I tip my hat to you, sir. Most likely to give me nightmares goes to Susan. Congratulations, I think. Best pop culture reference goes to Lance Welch. If you don't get it, you need to watch more Netflix. The most political goes to Ocean Eel. I'm sure this would have killed in 2016. Best backdrop goes to John Goodwin, wearing his mask at the Portland Art Museum. The greenest design goes to Tony White. I don't think that's going to protect you from the virus, but you get high marks from the judges. The To Infinity and Beyond honorary award goes to Gus Bedwell because we are encouraging his unhealthy obsession. And the best overall maskie goes to Lori Buswell with a message I think we can all get behind. Congratulations to all our winners.
Sorry to anybody who didn't make the list. We saw so many great masks. I mean, true art, really good stuff. If you want to check them out, so many people even posted tonight using hashtag HeyDan. There's also a Facebook post I put up yesterday with a ton of people. So get it on there, show us your mask, comment on other people's masks. We appreciate it as always. I do want to end you with a comment that we got tonight on Twitter from Matt. He said, I always feel a little bit dumber every night I watch Hey Dan. See, we've planned for that actually. I get done and I leave, and then Laurel Porter comes on next and makes you smarter. It's just the way it works. Thanks for being with us tonight. That's the story. I'll see you back here tomorrow. You too, Matt. Come back, all right?